Hello and welcome everybody to the Unlock the Power of Autodesk Build series. Today we're going to cover 4 specific topics, and we're going to cover specifically photos. We're going to cover submittals. We're going to cover meeting minutes as well as the schedule capabilities within Autodesk Build. My name is Jay Ayala. I am a technical specialist for Topcon. And what I do is I take my technical expertise and my industry experience, and I help our clients figure out, is this the best technology for me to move forward? As a technical specialist, it is my pleasure and my privilege to be your technical liaison. And joining me today is my technical specialist manager, the man, the myth, the legend, Kevin Closson.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you, Jay. Wow, it makes me want to crawl under my desk when you say something like that, you know? Anyway, yeah, this is great. I really genuinely appreciate you letting me participate in all of this. And, I'm actually in a lot of ways learning a lot of this stuff along with the rest of the folks that are watching this. I work on a little bit of a different side of all of the program, but, it does all tie together at the end of it. I'm on the civil side of things. So this has been really neat. The last one, the first session where we were checking out the sheets, files, and issues and forms, and that was excellent. I picked up quite a bit of it. So forgive me, Jay, if we're going along here. I may have a question myself. So I'll jump in and speaking of which, all that are attending today, if you do have any questions, please go ahead and pop that right in chat and we'll address those as we're moving along. Usually we do it at the end, but if it's something that's pertinent right on that spot, maybe we'll jump in at that moment, whatever it may be. So anyway, Jay, tear it up, baby. Let's have some fun, huh?
Yeah, great. So what we were going to do today, with Kevin having a civil background, with myself having an MEP and construction background, what I thought we would do is I would kind of mostly demonstrate this for Kevin's benefit, but as long as we've got everybody on board, everybody's going to be able to take something away from this. So give me a moment while I do just a little bit of window management here. I'm going to switch over to our build, right? So typically the way that we access this, Kevin, is just using your favorite web browser. And that's going to be super simple. We access it using the following link, acc.autodesk.com. And what that does is it allows us to log in with our credentials, which you can see I already have here. And then we have the entire list of all of the projects that we're working on, right? So here we may want to zero in on a project, and I can go ahead and pop that open, okay? And so Kevin, the photographs that you took for this project, I've already added them in. Thank you so much for having an opportunity to do that. And we're going to cover that topic first. We're going to start with photos. Okay, so photos is a really interesting way that we can keep track of all of the stuff that's happening out in the field, right? So there's a couple of little odd things that you might see out in the field, and you might want to document those couple odd little things, right? So here you're seeing just some wacky stuff. Oh, by the way, this one, I just love that we've got this caution sign over here.
You usually read that after you've already fallen down the stairs and look up,
Yeah, exactly, right? So, talk about my favorite seat at the ballpark, right? So there's some odd stuff that happens in the field, and there for many reasons, right? Sometimes there is no choice, and you got to do this stuff. Sometimes it's actually human error, right? So here we've got, well, I don't know what we've got. We've got like this garage door. How do you park your car, Kevin?
That's for your helicopter.
Right?
It's a tight fit, very hard to park, but.
So a couple of things about photos, right? You've got some photos. You see who it was taken by, when it was taken. You can see when it was added to the project. You can see the title information, and you can even set a location based off of the locations that you might have already set up for this project. Okay, and here you can see I've got the first floor of a particular building, and it's room 141 office, for example, if this was to happen internal to a building. So we can also add tags. Maybe we can just add like a human error tag. Maybe we'll say, okay, this is a door. Of course, that's the tag. So we can manage these interesting objects here. But what I really want to show you is some of what's happening with any iPhone that you might snap a photograph. So here we've got a door. Now this door has a little bit of a weather strip problem. There's just too much of a gap going right now, and there's some leakage coming in through this door. So that's why we took a couple of photographs of this one. I think, Kevin, you took these two.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Oh,
I like that one.
oh, I got to get back to, let's do this. Let's go and, oh, this other image. That's the one I was looking for. Yeah, so here you can kind of see at the top, in the middle, and at the bottom, the stripping is, the weather stripping rather, it's a little bit of an issue, right? So when these photographs are taken, we can add some information there by using tags and whatnot, but we can upload this directly from our phone or within the app. We can just take the photo and it'll be part of our process here. You can add references to this. And for example, you may want to go in and add a sheet, right? And maybe it's the main floor plan, A1-1 dims, and we can add that as part of this, okay? So with that particular set of doors, we may wish to go and edit that particular floor plan and just make an annotation on there that says something to the effect of, hey, there's a problem with this door, go look at the photograph image 0009, right? So this is where we start to have all that information collated in our project as we're going along. You can do this with an iPad, you can do this with your iPhone, and you can be connected with the app. You can do it independently too. You can do it independently. So let's say someone is on site, you ask them to take a few pictures, and then later they email them to you. So it's super simple to add them to a project. And I did that exact process here. I just added those photos and I chose the file from my desktop here. And I just, as you saw earlier, I had that in my folder here where I added these images as part of the project. All right. So that's a lot of what's happening with the process there. You can add video if you want, and you can. Here's a good example. This is a real project that was being worked on. Where was this guy? I think this was in Livermore, or maybe Pleasanton, California. Snapped this photograph of something that was about to get fixed. So this one was a pretty decent little problem that we had run into. Additionally, if you just wanted to document, the state of things as things are being installed, or the quality of the weldments or whatever, you can absolutely take care of that. So it doesn't have to be a negative. It can be just, hey, we finished this. This is where it's at. This is its current condition, so on and so forth. Okay. So a couple of things about the photograph. So once you have the photos selected and whatever, you can filter things out. You can filter them out by location. You can filter them out by date, photo type references, so on and so forth. So it's pretty nice to be able to work with this. Additionally, you're seeing here that we've got not only the gallery, but we have a map. So the map is going to show us, oh, of course, let me zoom out to where we need to be. Give me 1 second, guys. Zoomed in earlier. So we've got the map of our particular projects. Oh, what happened there? Sorry, give me a second, guys. I think I hit the forms rather. I meant to hit the photos. All right, so now that we've got these loaded in here and we're looking at the map, you can see that I've got a photo that was taken just north of the Seattle area, right? This was a demonstration that I had done earlier on site, and I think this was in the Mill Creek area. Yeah, Mill Creek area, right? So yeah, so as long as you've got that option set up on your phone, we've got photographs that were taken of this particular project in its context here. So here we see on Cherrywood Loop in Richland, Washington, we've got a photo that was taken, outside of the building. outside of the project. We've got several more that were taken on the outside of the project as well. And if I want to, let's go to, sorry, I did it again. I meant to hit photos. If I wanted to look at what's going on in Portland, you know, we've got 4 photographs that were taken, and if I zoom out, you'll see the context of where specifically that is. And you can even just turn on the satellite imagery and see, you know, where about we are. And this happens to be the PPI office, sorry, the Topcon office in Portland. So yeah, it's a really nice way to kind of visualize where are these photos being taken. And when you zoom into an area that has, for example, 4 photos, it shows you, you know, where those photos and what those photos are. Okay,
That's
so
cool.
photos. Yeah, what we're doing is we're documenting real world conditions as they're happening, and in a construction sense, you can catch both things that are maybe questionable, things that need to be fixed, like an issue, or just, you know, the completed process once it's done. You know, you might want to include that as well. I'm finding a huge trend right now in the photos, Kevin. It used to be that we would just see the problem, the things that would stand out, right? We would only see that photographic evidence. Now what we're seeing is a huge trend of, you know, the job was done well, these pieces of equipment were installed properly, or just a general photograph of what we were seeing. One client in particular did a time lapse where he would go stand on the corner of the parking garage looking down at his project, and it was super cool because he had the same angle almost every single shot. And at the end of the project, he was taking this photo every day. At the end of the project, he built this super cool animation. So it was like 1 second per photo, and he had a total of 90 photos. So he had a 1.5 minute video of the project being erected. So there was a lot of stuff happening, earthwork first, in the first few photographs, and then the building was erected, and then it was skinned, and then, you know, it kind of looked the same without any changes towards the back half of it because all of the work was being done internally. So, but that was a super cool idea that he had, and that's what we're seeing, a big trend right now of those types of photographs.
Yeah, it's when you said that, normally I would see something like that it's a problem or something like that. So, I can see where that would be really useful. One, you're covering the work that you did, but also you're showing existing conditions. So next person has to come in, maybe work around that object or something like that. They at least would know what they're going into. So that's slick.
You know, another one of my clients was talking about he wanted to make sure that he knew specifically on this particular wall where the studs were, where the metal studs were. There was some kind of electrical, low voltage electrical, I think it might have been network cabling that they had to go through. Oh, it was the server room. So he wanted to know specifically where are all the metal studs. And then, you know, once they put that the gypsum boards on, the gypsum wall boards, you know, you don't know unless somehow you have some kind of augmented reality or something. But he took photographs of where all the stud layout were, and it was really helpful to him later, right? So I love the concept of being able to take progress photos as it's going along. All right, so yeah, let's see. There might be some questions that might be popping up in the Q&A. We're going to transition next from photos to our next topic, which is submittals. So if there's anything popping up, Kevin, in the Q&A panel or maybe in the chat, let's address that now while we're on the subject of photos. But if not,
Roger
there's
that.
also room at the end.
Yeah, let's see here. I'm not seeing anything yet.
No problem. Okay. All right. Let's transition in that case. So now that you've seen a little bit about photos and how simple this is to work with, let's go look at submittals. Submittals is a very clear communication vehicle about a project. So if there's any types of questions that are happening and we want to have a way, especially the more complex, Kevin, that these projects tend to get, we want a clear and concise way to be able to communicate the information back and forth about the project. Okay? So I can see here that David, one of my colleagues, he's got the ball is in his court on these several items here, and these are all drafts, which I would assume that he's going to take care of this at some point, right? He's got a lot of drafts here. So these can be managed on an item by item basis. They can also be managed on a package basis, okay? And then we can go ahead and add different types of specs in here. So when I show this, when I typically show this, Kevin, one of the first questions, and you're probably thinking this right now, is Jay, can I just use like an auto spec system that will populate all of this? Well, the way that this works is we want to create the specs individually rather than rely on, you know, an auto spec being built. I think Autodesk is they have another program that's specifically built for specs. It's called Pipe, P-Y-P-E. And I think that they're currently integrating some of that auto spec functionality right into Build. I'm not sure when and if they're going to release that together, but these specs right now, they have to be created individually.
Okay, so
Here we've got paint 095300 shop drawings, so on and so forth. The list can be as big as you need it or just as concise as what you want. But next, what we want to talk about here is the items. So these are the individual specs that we may want to be communicating about, the individual items. And then we've got, so maybe we have 3 or 4 of these. Then what we would do is we can set up 4 of these in a package, right? So instead of doing one at a time and going through the review, we would make a package and we would include, so let's just do that now. My 09 here, 09 right here. So maybe we want to make a paint package.
so it's just a better way of organizing that data as opposed to being overwhelmed with just a plethora of information.
Right, exactly. So instead of doing a review on each one of these, you can do, you know, several of these paint. And let's go look one here. Yep, let's go. Where's my 19? Yeah, here we go. So let's do these guys right here, these 4. So we can add these 4, and now this is a package, okay? And I'll show you the next step. So once we make a package, we can send this into a review. Before I get to that, however, I do want to talk about some of the settings here. So we've got permissions, and these are the people who can. These are the submittal managers. These guys are the people who are responsible for the submittals and you know, issuing them and closing them out. We also have default managers for each project, and maybe that's actually supposed to be David. We've got a default review. These are 5 business days, not 5 days total, not counting the weekends. And then we have default watchers. So these are people who are not necessarily, watchers are not necessarily assigned a submittal. These are people who are just need to be informed. So think about maybe a superintendent, or maybe even, you know, just a foreman's, a specific foreman. So you can add specific watchers who need to be informed about this. You can do it by individual, you can do it by role, whatever their role is in the company, or you can do it by company. So what this means is anybody who's on the Topcon company will be a watcher, right? So then we also have the responses, approved as noted. This is probably the one that gets used the most. We have revise and resubmit, and then we have rejected responses. We have different types, so depending, and you can customize this to suit your needs. And then we have templates. I don't have one set up here, but what the template would allow you to do is it would be a way that we can run the submittals effectively. Yeah. So the close submittals visibility, this is turned on, and by default this is on. But if a submittal is closed, by default you can have this on, and you just won't see it in the list anymore. Okay. But most people want to know if it's been closed, so we can disable this, and all those closed submittals would show us the information in the list. All right. So let's go make a submittal, and let's go ahead and get back to the items here. So I'll create an item, and I'll look at the spec section here, and yeah, let's go to exit ladder devices. And subspection, you can put one in here. It's not required, but if you wanted to do the sub-spec sections, I cannot speak today. Sub-spec sections, you can absolutely do that. All right, so this is a spec specifically about ladder enclosures, safety ladder enclosures. Good. So we can select a package, which I made one earlier, but I'm just going to do an individual item right now, right? So we made a package earlier, and you could put this in that package that has not been submitted yet, right? So as you can see, we've got these packages. I'm just going to leave it as an item. You can always add the item after the fact, but here is where I would put the OSHA code, or what, I can't remember what the OSHA code is for safety enclosures here, but safety ladder safety enclosures. All right, so now we simply go through, okay, package template. I don't want to use a template. The type is, where is it? Product data, okay? We can assign this to the responsible contractor, and this would be all of the individuals that are in here. Okay, so if I'm a GC looking at this, I would want to submit this to the specialty contractor, and that might be Dan Paschal of Acme Ladders Incorporated, right? So I would select that particular individual, or I would select that company. All right, so when is this submittal due? Well, it's going to be due on Friday the 20th. Priority, you can see that we've got low, high, and normal, of course. If it was mission critical, I would use high. But anything else, even if it's got some urgency, I would still use no. Just don't over abuse the high, is what I'm getting at. So things like product data that I'm getting out, this is a low priority. It doesn't need to be critical, mission critical or anything. And then we can add watchers. So let's say we wanted David to be the watcher on here, right? So we can absolutely add the watchers and have them looking at this. So I don't remember when they introduced the planning information, but I like this. So let's say that you're planning on all the submittal information and you need to get it back. So you can start doing, for example, the required date, the required approval date no later than the 20th, and of course, the required on job site. So yes, this information needs to be on the job site, and we need to have it there by the 20th. You can do lead time in days. So maybe this is just, being product data, maybe this is just 3-day lead time. And if I hit create another, so if I tick this box here, when I create one, Kevin, this is going to launch me into another create item.
Okay.
So here, I just want to create it, and it takes me back out to my list of items here. All right. So it's currently organized by number here, as you can see. So we've got all this information in here, and maybe now it's time to go through. Now, where's my spec section? Complete. Oh, I lost it. Did I lose it? Did I really lose it? Hang on a second. Let me just refresh my screen. All right. And let me see, ball in court. Yeah, wow, okay. It's fine, regardless. It seems like I can't seems like I can't scroll my window here for some reason. Yeah, it's misbehaving for some strange reason. Okay, let's go ahead and take a look at one of these, and let's go through and do a submittal. So here we have a couple of things that we want to do. As a manager, I can assign this to a responsible contractor. Okay? And again, you're seeing the information here, not while you're creating it, you can do it after the fact. So again, several places where you might want to go through and do, the required job site, so on and so forth. But you have several places to do this. You're not always locked in. Another thing that we can do is we can add references, right? So if I needed to add a particular file to this, I could add it from sorry, give me 1 second. I could add it from my files, or I can bring it in through my let's see, I think I have some PDF information in here. Maybe it is under my MEP. Oh, I forget where it's at. But if I wanted to add a file to this, I absolutely could, just to make sure that's going to be part of this particular submittal. It could be PDFs, it could be Word. In this case, I'm doing the whole Revit model.
So just supporting documentation.
Absolutely. And we want to make sure that we're communicating all this clearly and effectively and concisely, right? So that's kind of what this whole thing is about. So the responsible contractor here, we're going to say that it's David Campbell, and that this, again, we need to have this done by the 20th. Okay. So what's going to happen here is as we wind up working through this, we can go through and close at any time. We can create a new revision. So if we got new updated drawings, or maybe new spec from, sorry, a new manual from our manufacturer, we can absolutely go and create revisions, as well as voiding things out. Maybe we didn't have to have this set up that way after all. The activity log is really important because we can do an app mention at any time to our, maybe we need to mention Daniel, hey, we're currently submitting this. Good. So we can start to do all kinds of at mentions, and this at mention is very underutilized. I've come to realize that this at mention is very underutilized. But what this triggers, actually it triggers an email being sent to that individual, right? So without having to go outside and email Dan separately, we're able to leverage the system, and he's being notified not only through the system, but also he's being emailed. And it'll take him right to this comment when he opens that email. Super slick. Okay, so a couple things. We can, as an organizer here, we can submit this. So right now the default submitter is David, even though it's me. So he created it, and what we're doing here is we have the ability as a manager to continue this. But typically it would be that person who created the submittal who would be going through this process. So right now it's being prepared for a review, and we can add additional reviewers. Okay, so the first person who's going to review this is going to be Chris Wilson. He's one of our surveying guys out in the field. Okay, so he's one of our surveying guys out in the field. And then we can add another person who's going to be doing this more from an office perspective, and that's Paul Stuba. He's in Portland. So first, it'll be Chris, a surveyor out in the field, verifying certain things for us. And then we've got an office person, Paul, who can do this. And what you're going to notice here, notice what happens in this timeline of things that happen, right? So once I do that, I got review step 1 of 2, that's Chris Wilson. And then we got review step 2 of 2, and that's Paul Stuva, right? So here, let's go submit this, Kevin.
Okay.
Right? And here I can attach a form. And not only can I do my project files, which you saw earlier, but if I have a supplemental file that I have not issued yet, maybe I've got a PDF that contains a lot of information specifically about this project and this submittal that we're working on, we can add that from our computers. It doesn't have to be already loaded into the project. This was a big relief and a pain point for some of my clients who were like, Jay, I don't always have the stuff on my project in Autodesk Construction Cloud in Docs. I don't always have my stuff in there. Sometimes it's on my computer, and in the middle of a submission, I have to cancel, go grab the file, and then load it into my project in my Autodesk Docs. So I'm glad to see that they made that change, and that not only can you do from the project files and ACC Docs, but now you can do from your computer directly and say, hey, it's actually on my PC, right? It's here in my Charlotte pipe folder. Okay, so see, he's got a review due date. That's going to be on Sunday. I don't know if I want to work for you, Jay. No, let's make that on Friday. And so let's send this out. And what Chris is going to do, the ball is now in Chris's court. Okay, it's now in Chris's court. So Chris, he'll see the email notification, Kevin, and then he's going to have to come in and say, okay, let's review the stuff. And here we've got, okay, we've got a PDF. He's going to go review all the information. He's going to go to the field, make sure all the stuff in the field is right. And at some point, he's going to come back and say, okay, let's review. The step back just means let's go back to the previous step over here to the sent for review. Depending on, so the reviewer himself, this person, because he's not a manager, he will not have this button. He's just going to have the review button. Okay, so you're seeing some behind the scenes as I'm demonstrating. This isn't typically what he will see. So Chris will see the review button. He'll come in and he'll do the review. He'll review the attachments. He'll just activate them here, and he'll go through the catalog and he'll annotate it, or maybe that's exactly what he needs to see when he's done. He's going to come back to this view, go to the next one, so on and so forth, and then he'll give us a response, review. Either it's rejected, he's reviewed it, he's revised and resubmit, but let's just say he's made a few annotations, or maybe he hasn't, just says approved and noted. So now it goes to the next step, as you see here. So it started over here, it went to sent for review, it went to reviewed. Now it's for the 1 of 2. Now it's 2 of 2. So Paul's going to do the same thing. He's going to come in, he's going to review the document, and you can have as many reviewers. Maybe you just need one person to be on this, right? Maybe you just need the one person to do the reviews, and then that's it for the submittal. So regardless of what the workflow is, however many people need to do the reviews of the submittals, we need to get to a point where we can close and distribute this, or we got new information from the manufacturers or new information from the field. We can create a new revision of this. So all the historical stuff will be kept. We're not getting rid of this. However, it's just the new version. He'll have to go back and review the stuff again with the new information. But again, we're trying to get to the close and distribute, which is super simple. Once the manager sees that all the steps have been taken care of, he's got green lights across the board, he can then come in here, close and distribute this information. So the final response here is approved as noted. He can add any additional comments, and then he can submit this out completely. Let's get back to the submittals. So the submittals, as you can see here, we've got the draft submittals, so on and so forth. We got the packages. So whether it's a single item or whether it's a package, you have all of that information readily available to you. And that's not just on the iOS, on your favorite Chrome browser like Chrome, Google Chrome. This is also available to you on your mobile phone. So sometimes that's just as invaluable, especially with Chris Wilson, who is our representative out in the field. I can't even begin to tell you how much time savings this particular organization helps us out with, compared to the old-fashioned, let's do it in Excel and let's distribute emails back and forth, and oh, is this the latest information? And it's just very clear and concise, and it's all in one place. I really enjoy using this feature.
The interface is simple too.
Oh, yeah. So,
with not having a lot of flight time with this, just watching you picking through these picks and clicks here, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, it's super simple. Cool. Okay, so we're going to transition now again from submittals. We're going to move on to meetings, but if anybody has any questions, let's check the chat or the Q&A while we're on the subject. And again, if there isn't anything in there, we'll have time here in about 10-15 minutes at the end of our presentation to open that up for Q&A back and forth.
And folks, go ahead and chime in if you do have any questions there, and I'll be more than happy to pass those on.
Okay. Okay, great. I'm just gonna let those build up in the Q&A and move on here. So we're gonna transition now, Kevin, from submittals to meetings. This is another one of these underutilized features of Build that it has a lot of value in here. And this is where you can, so let's say you have your weekly construction meeting. It's Monday mornings, it's usually 7 or 8 o'clock in the morning. let's get going on the plan of the week. You will also probably have daily morning meetings with the foreman and their individual groups, right? So you can completely leverage this system and have all of this about the project, this one project. You can have all of those meeting minutes within the project. I really like using these. So just to take a quick look at this, we got meetings and we got items. Items are a special thing, okay? Items are a result of a meeting and something getting assigned, okay? And it's going to be things like, hey, there's an action item that has to be completed by next week on Friday, because it's mission critical. If we don't get the foundations poured next week by Friday, it's going to delay everything. So mission critical things and just really important things that need to be taken care of will be from your meeting minutes that are looked at as action items. Okay, so let's set up a meeting. Let's say next Monday we're going to kick off a new project. Let's set up a meeting. Super simple. You probably do this in Outlook, but I want you to consider doing this here. Okay, so here's the meeting. And what we're going to do is we're just going to start at the top and move our way down. Okay, so let's call this kickoff meeting. Kickoff meeting, and let's look at the invitees. So let's go ahead and add. We want Chris out in the field. We want Dan also out in the field, and we want Paul in the office. We want these individuals. Maybe we'll add, we'll add David Campbell in here as well. So we will confirm these individuals. They're invited, and then we look at any references, right? So we can add things like, let me pull that up in my sheets. We can add, the plan that we're going to work with. Maybe we want sheet A1 and A1-dims. We may want the storefront elevations as well. So we can add these sheets because we're going to discuss these in our project. And you can add pretty much anything. You can add files, you can add a Revit model, you can add all this stuff. Oh, we don't have any items yet, sorry. Then we're going to set up the date. So this is going to be Monday, the 23rd. It's going to be the 8 o'clock. It's going to go to 8:30. And that's going to be in the morning. The location is unspecified, but you can say, okay, this is going to be virtual, and we're going to add not necessarily on site. This is going to be a video conference link. Do you see where it says, Kevin? Do you see where it says unspecified?
Yeah.
You can just edit this, or you can use the Autodesk integration with Teams, Microsoft Teams, or even Zoom, right? So you can just use the integration. Once you log in the one time like this, it's going to remember that, right? So here's my integration with Teams. It automatically looks at my links and it's got that information built right in. This has just populated my calendar incidentally, right? My calendar is now populated on January 23rd at 8 a.m., 8:30. So I don't have to go do that in my Outlook. That's just a result of using the integration, okay? So cool. So let's call this the description. This is kickoff Monday morning meeting. All right, good. So let's talk. The first thing that we want to discuss is at risk. All right, and we can add more sections, another topic here. And we're going to talk about, the next thing we want to talk about is constructability. We add another topic, and this other topic here will be equipment. All right, so the at risk, we can add an item here. So let's go ahead and add an item, and this will be that safety ladder cage. So that safety ladder cage just arrived on site. We got the submittal, and it's time to install this, right? So let's also add, we also got the, we're supposed to be doing the ramps, the ADA compliant ramps. So you can see how we are building this up, right? So right now, these are open items. We have not done anything with these, and you can see how, hey, let's flag this because that's got to be done right away. We need to figure this one out. And for the ADA compliance, this isn't so urgent. We're going to get to them regardless of when that's done. but this is where you start building that up. And as you start doing this, you can go down to the meeting summary, and you can literally just start typing up all of the meeting minutes. We said, let's get these things done. So you can start going through the process of making sure that you've got all of these things fully documented within your meeting. So you build up the agenda ahead of time. Later, what you do is during the meeting, you'll start keeping minutes. Oh, and incidentally, you can change it from an agenda to minutes, as you can see here, as we're getting this stuff done. As soon as I finish this meeting here, it's now part of my overall meetings here, okay? So the cool thing is if I'm in my meeting, let's say I'm in my meeting and we are working through certain things, I can use the ellipses at the top right-hand corner here, and I can create a follow-up meeting, right? So we can say, okay, so let's say we have that meeting on the 23rd, and we need to make sure that things are done by the Friday the 30th. So maybe we have a Thursday meeting just as a follow-up to make sure that stuff gets done by that particular Friday. What I like about this is it's already got all the stuff, just like you saw that I had done. This is now the follow-up meeting. So what that starts to look like, guys, is we got the kickoff meeting, but if I open that up, you see I've got meeting number 1, which was on January 23rd, and meeting number 2, which was on January 26th. So I really like the way that this is set up here. Set it up where it belongs within the project. Because when you have to go manage Outlook and, or maybe you're using Google Calendars, when you have to go manage that separately, there's always an opportunity in there where things might just kind of fall apart, right? So I love the ability to be able to do this, and maybe let's say for the follow-up meeting number 2, maybe let's say that this is just meeting minutes, right? So we can go through the process of making sure that all of this is giving us the information that we need, and it's being kept track of within the project. So Kevin, I know that when you and I are working on our projects, I got stuff in Excel, I got stuff in Outlook, I got stuff on Microsoft Teams in the instant messenger chat message, and it's all over the place. What I like about this is if we're collaborating, if you and I are already having trouble collaborating internally within our own company, how much more exponentially is that going to get misconstrued when we're dealing with people external too? And that's why I like that we've got the meeting minutes and meeting agendas that we can pull them off right within the system.
Just a centralized location.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm curious on those meeting minutes. Is that something that everybody can see, considering this is such a communication tool throughout? Are those minutes? Can everybody see them, or is it just the folks or the participants in that meeting?
Yeah. Yeah, let's talk about that. So the meeting minutes. The short answer is only the administrators can see all of the meetings. Okay. And as a participant, Kevin, if you were invited in as a participant and you weren't one of the managers, you would only see the meetings that pertained to you. Okay, you would only see like the meeting that involved the machine control grading and the civil, and that's all you would see, right? So
Okay.
it's specific to the ones that you have been invited to. As an administrator myself, I see all of them.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Okay. That wraps up what I wanted to demonstrate about the meeting minutes. If we don't have any messages in the chat or in the Q&A, I'm just going to transition now over to schedule. And there's so much to schedules, but I'm going to keep it brief to like 5 to 10 minutes at most. It's more like 5 minutes. So schedule. I'm sorry, Kevin, was there anything in the Q&A or in the chat?
No, I'm not seeing anything yet.
All right, no problem. Guys, we have an
crystal
opportunity
clear.
here. No problem. We have an opportunity here in about 10 minutes to open it up for Q&A. So you've seen meeting, we started with photos, we went to submittals, we saw meetings, we're now looking at schedules. So schedules is something super cool. And again, this is another one of these underutilized features of Build, but I really, really like it from the perspective of executing on a project. Okay, give me 1 second here. Sorry, guys. Okay, perfect. Kind of tweaked my hip just a second ago. Okay, so what we're looking at here is we are looking at a project that was updated on December 6th, 2021, called the Autodesk Hospital Project. So this is a Primavera P6 file. Specifically, this one is a Microsoft project. So the project Gantt chart of your choice, whatever you're currently using, almost all of them, work directly within BIM 360 Build in the schedule tool. This is not a schedule manager. That's not what this is. This is a schedule viewer, and it makes the schedule accessible for specified people on the project. So here you can see that we've got the site and the groundwork that's going to happen starting on December 7th, 2020. It's going to go through May 6th of 2022. We've got topography as a task. We've got the excavation, right? So as you're working on your civil stuff, Kevin, right, there's a lot of stuff that has to happen throughout that time, but there's also simultaneous efforts. So the structural team is going to come in on December 9th, 2022, and they're going to be on there between there and July 15th. At least this is the plan. So this is a review of what is happening within the project. This is not where you will manage the project. That's not what this is. Okay, so we're seeing all of the tasks that have to happen for the structural, and then the architecture comes in after that, right? And then even after that, what we'll see, oh, and forgive me guys, I've got my messages popping up here. Okay, then what you'll see after that is we've got the specialty contractors coming in, like the HVAC guys, the plumbing is gonna get done, fire sprinkler, all that stuff is gonna get done. So this is a Gantt view of what we're seeing as the project is going. And we're right now in the viewing mode. This is fine and all, but what's more valuable is if so I work on the HVAC side of things. That's kind of my forte. So if I'm a specialty contractor on the HVAC side of things, and let's say that the allotted time for this particular, the rooftop equipment, we only have December 1st to December 3rd to do this work. We're gonna bring it in with a crane, we're gonna set it in place, we're gonna make sure that everything's mounted up correctly and per manufacturer settings, all that stuff, right? So I only have, what, 2 days as a specialty contractor to do this work. And that might be enough, but what happens if oh, you know what, I'm gonna need an extra day. And how does that impact all of the other stuff downstream? So if I'm on the rooftop doing the equipment, how does that going to impact my rooftop ductwork and piping, right? So this is a mode where a participant, like a specialty contractor, can go to the suggesting, okay? And this one real little example here, let's say that this one needs to be edited, so we can add details here. We're going to delay, and the root cause is constructability, absolutely. There were some power lines in the way of the crane. Whatever that reason is, or some temporary power lines. Good. So we can add this information, and that's going to create an impact on other things, right? So we can also, it's going to be a little bit of a cost because now we got to rent that crane for an additional day. So we can add that stuff in here as a review, as a suggestion, okay? So what you're going to see is we go through and just all of the tasks that need to be managed. Now, of course, the HVAC subcontractor, he's not going to manage the overall construction schedule. He needs to give this to the GC. And that's where this really starts to come into play, right? So if the GC comes back in and he sees that, hey, oh look, I got a suggestion that I need to go look at. he'll come in and see in the suggestion log all of that. Oh, did I not finish it? Give me 1 second. Let's go back to suggestion. Oh, it's not submitted. So let's go back down there and submit this one. Where are you? HVC. There it is. Okay. And here we can go look at the suggestion and we can submit this one, right? So let's add, where are you? Here we go. References 0% complete. There we go. December 3rd. So once I submit this, I get it to the, sorry guys, I'm running really low on time here, guys. I get this and I submit this over to my individual who's going to, so here it goes to the manager, and now the manager, when he comes in, when he logs in, he's going to see that he's got a suggestion log, and he's also been emailed, incidentally. It shows up with this giant yellow triangle of enlightenment, letting him know, right? So the GC, he now, oh, hey, I've got a suggestion. I got to go look at that, and he can see who did it, when they did it, and what they need, right? So now they can go through the process of in review, it's been mitigated or it's been allowed. So we're going to let this slip by 1 day, even though it's got a cost impact. So this is where, you know, a collaborative effort between the GC and or anybody managing a schedule, that is. It could be the individual subcontractors managing his own schedule. So you guys figure out how to divide and conquer. This is a very clear and concise way. This is only a view and suggestion. You will still use your Primavera P6, your Microsoft project, or any other software that you typically use to manage your schedules. But this is a very good communication vehicle about the schedule itself, Kevin.
Okay.
Okay, so that wraps up. There's a lot of details in the schedule. I can go on and on for hours just about this one feature, but that's the big thing about the schedule that I wanted to inform our clients who may already be using this technology. All right, so it's at this point, Kevin, that I think we should probably go to the Q&A or the chat and just kind of monitor that for a bit. But thank you, everyone, for your time and attention. I really appreciate that you guys joined us and are checking this out today. Stay tuned. We have another one of these final series. The final conclusion of the series is going to happen on Valentine's Day. So if you don't already have a date, come join us at 9 in the morning, and we'll help you understand a little bit more about your favorite Valentine's guest, Mr. Kevin Closson, the man, the myth, the legend.
You know, oddly, I have done more Valentine Day presentations, and you know, it's always cracks me up that I'm always away on Valentine's Day, you know. So, oh well, oh well. Um, Thank you, Jay. That was good, solid. I do got a couple questions here. Um, we have one that says, my company is very interested in Build. How do we purchase and get training?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. So we can help you with that purchasing process. We'll get your contact information after the fact. The training is something that we can definitely help you out with. I demonstrate this stuff all the time. We've got a 260-page manual, not that you need it, but that accompanies our Build training. So it's really easy to do the training. We typically do it in person. However, we have noticed the last year and a half or so, people want to do this remotely so that they can invite a larger group of people, including their subs. So we can absolutely do the training, whether it's in person or done over like what we're doing now, a webinar or remote style. We can do it either way. Absolutely.
Yeah, and and we can definitely help you customize this, make sure it's exactly what you need. So. And then, hey, I kind of have one. I wanted to go way back. I was intrigued with the photos. I took them, and I was curious. Are those geotagged or are they geo-referenced somehow? I mean, I just took the photos. I didn't. Those came in spots like you were showing on the maps there,
Yeah.
and I was just curious. Like, is that something you're manually editing or?
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so okay, the geotagging, it's actually a setting in your phone, right?
Okay,
So it's a lot of Android phones by default have them turned off. I think the Samsung Galaxies have those turned off. However,
okay,
if you enable it, you're able to take photographs like I took in this location. This particular photograph, as I was demonstrating Build, I saw an old school phone and I'm like, oh, let me do that. Let me take a photograph and make a pretend issue out of this, right? So I took a photograph and my iPhone, which is what I have, it automatically geotagged where it was. It's going to be accurate within about, I would say 10 to 30 feet. It's not going to be pinpoint accurate like some of the robotic total station stuff that you would, get down to the, what is it, the micron. So it's not
Sure.
going to be that accurate, but it does do geotagging of your general area. And this can be very valuable, especially when you have a lot of photographs on a particular project, on a large site rather, right? So this can be and these are the 4 photographs that you took for me yesterday, right? So absolutely, they're geotagged as long as the setting is enabled in your phone.
Okay, so and I, just looking at that, it was close enough for what we were doing there. But wow, that's fascinating. Um, and I do have one more. I don't know if we have time for this. This might have to be a follow-up. I'll let you decide on that one there, Jay. But the question came in: can you explain the submittal review templates feature?
Oh yeah, yeah. So the submittal review templates. You noticed earlier that I had set up a 2-step review. One was with I think it was sent to David Campbell, and another one was sent to Chris Wilson rather, and then after that, step 2 was sent to Paul Scuba. So that's something that we can templatize. We can automatically have a 2-step review process for the submittal, and we can have these specified individuals. So here, case in point, if you had a mechanical HVAC consultant, subcontractor rather, if you had a mechanical HVAC subcontractor and you had a submittal that were specific to his discipline, that would be one template. If you had a specialty contractor who's completely separate from that company, who was a plumbing contractor, right? So let's say it's a plumbing contractor, different company. You might want yet another. You might want another template specifically for that company. So that's where we can leverage the templates to be able to do that. And yeah, I can demonstrate it. Probably I can demonstrate it next time around, or if you want to see it, I can get with you after.
Yeah, we can follow up or something.
Absolutely. Yeah. Excellent. Good. All right, guys. So yeah, we've got 3 minutes left. Are there any additional questions?
I'm just checking right now here. Are there plans to allow creation of schedules within Build without the need for external software?
Yeah. Okay. So we've had this one come up a lot. Unfortunately, I work for Topcon. I used to work for Autodesk, but even when I did work for Autodesk, Autodesk would never publicly commit to any future plans of anything. So the most I can tell you now is this is how they're working on it. There may be plans to do scheduling later. I know that Autodesk has a whole nother software called Autodesk Plan, which is a push-pull type of scheduling feature set. It's separate from all of this. They already have one. I don't know if it's going to get rolled into Build. However, I think for what Build is trying to do, the capability is there. I know that now we're talking about managing 2 different softwares, and it might be better to just do it in one. I'm a believer. I'm a firm believer in that. I hope that Autodesk makes that decision. I don't know. The answer is I don't know. I don't know if they're going to be able to do that or not.
All right. Anybody else have anything they want to throw out there? Wait here just for a sec. Oh, something's coming in. Hang on just a sec.
Yeah, my pleasure.
I think we're good.
Excellent. Okay, guys, again, thank you so much for your time and attention. Thank you, Kevin. I'll turn it over to you now.
All right. Well, if there was anything that piqued your interest there and you need any more information, you know how to get a hold of us. Visit our website at topconsolutions.com, or you can email us at info@topconsolutions.com, or you can always reach us on the old horn there, 855-289-1772. That's 855-289-1772. And Jay's already mentioned it, but remember on on February 14th is our 3rd one in this series. of Unlock the Power of Build. So get your better half. I cannot think of a more romantic way to spend Valentine's Day as we discuss assets, reports, members, and bridge. So I thank you all so very much. We're right at 10 o'clock. And again, feel free to reach out to us and we'll see if we can provide you solutions and answers to whatever it is that you may need. So thank you all so very much. And we'll be seeing you here shortly. And I think that's it. Jay, excellent job as usual. And we'll close it up there.
All right. Thanks, Kevin. Happy Valentine's Day, my friend.
Yeah. I can't wait to see you.
All right.
All right.
Bye now.
Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.